Welcome back, dear viewer. What's that? What's that you say? It must be the end of the world because I actually have good news today? You would not be that far off, my friend. I woke up this morning to see this lovely article from Ars Technica. I will put the link in the description below. And the headline simply reads, "Flooded with AI-generated images. Some art communities banned them completely." Yes. So let's see. Let's just dive right the hell in, shall we? Smaller art communities are banning image synthesis amid a wider art ethics debate. Yes, yes indeed. So confronted with an overwhelming amount of artificial intelligence generated artwork flooding in, some online art communities have taken dramatic steps to ban or curb its presence on their sites. Hey. Including Newgrounds, Inkblot Art, and Fur Affinity. Well done, guys. Nice fucking work. So this guy Bao, who has been following AI art ethics closely on his blog, first noticed the bans and reported them on Friday. So far, major art communities like DeviantArt and ArtStations have not made any AI-related policy changes. But some vocal artists on social media have complained about how much AI art they regularly see on those platforms as well. Hi, right here. Here's a little comic, me deciding whether to press like on something, not knowing if it's AI generated or not. We can all kind of relate. Just when in doubt, just keep scrolling. So the arrival of widely available image synthesis models such as Midjourney and Stable Diffusion has provoked an intense online battle between artists who view AI-assisted artwork as a form of theft, more on that below, and artists who enthusiastically embrace the new creative tools. Now, I just want to put a little caveat when they're saying artists who embrace the tools, that to me, there's far fewer real artists embracing the tool. I don't mean to harp on like a label as real artist. I just mean people who do this professionally and whose opinion I basically respect. Some of them really like it. A lot of them really aren't that hyped on it. So I would say that a lot of the people who are embracing these tools are just regular people. And there's nothing wrong with being a regular people, but these are people who see the entertainment value in this, or if somehow fancy themselves now an artist because they're able to type a couple of sentences in and get this thing to spit out a really high quality render. So I just wanted to hang a lantern on that. Artists who enthusiastically embrace the new creative tools. Goes on to say, established artist communities are at a tough crossroads because they fear non-AI artwork getting drowned out by an unlimited supply of AI generated art. Yeah, I feel like that is a good sentence right there. It's really hard to want to sit down and spend a bunch of hours to create something. Maybe you almost feel like nobody even gives a shit. And that's an absolute shit feeling. So it goes on to say, in banning art created through image synthesis in its art portal, Newgrounds wrote, "We want to keep the focus on art made by people and not have the art portal flooded with computer-generated art." I think flooded is a good term because the speed at which you can generate these renders is just breakneck, for better or worse. There's a large conversation to be had there. So Fur Affinity cited concerns about the ethics of how image synthesis models learn from existing artwork. This is one of the major points of what my problem is. I hate how it is essentially a sophisticated art theft algorithm. That is my view of it. I will also portend that it is a very low to no skill and low to no effort tool. And people who they want to tout like the prompts they created as some sort of like Da Vinci-esque fucking revelation, get over yourself. Have a little humility. Like a little bit of self-awareness goes a long way. I'm looking at you, fucking Colorado AI art contest douchebag. So here we go. So Fur Affinity cited concerns about the ethics of how image synthesis models learn from existing artwork. And they go on to say, our goal is to support artists and their content. We don't believe it's in our community's best interest to allow AI generated content on the site. So here we have some photos of actual art. These are human created. And I guess these are some of the very small sampling of images, or a very small sampling of some of the images that these data sets are trained on. So the current wave of image synthesis tools allows user to type in a written description called a prompt, output, blah, 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 blah. We kind of know all this with a skillfully crafted prompt. When I say skillfully, they're saying skillfully crafted. I say if you just stumble onto a right terms and shit, you can actually say a bunch of generic garbage and get something fucking really cool to spit out. So the most successful prompts often reference existing artists. Again, one of my major problems with all this, it is so shady. The most successful prompts often reference existing artists and art websites by name, but rarely alone. Mixing artists can create innovative new styles. For example, here is the prompt that created the robotic woman in the center of the image at the top. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, neat. She's got nice cheekbones. Beautiful crying, exclamation point. Mechanical android, exclamation point. Half portrait, comma. Intricate detailed environment. Photorealistic. Intricate and elegant. I thought you said that already. Highly detailed. I feel like you said that already. Digital painting, art station, concept art. Smooth, sharp focus. Illustration. Art by Art Germ. Amazing artist. And Greg Rakowski. Amazing artist. And Alphonse Mucha. Seed 79 blah blah blah. Now this seed refers to probably a reference image, which makes it just another level of fucking disgusting. So the most popular image synthesis models use latent diffusion technique to create novel artwork by analyzing millions of images without consent from artists or copyright holders. In the case of Stable Diffusion, those images come sourced directly from the internet, as we kind of all knew, courtesy of the Lion-5B database. Images found on the internet often come with descriptions attached, which is ideal, right? So you got your shit up there, you've got your name on it, you got a description of what it is maybe, and yeah, like it's real easy for the AI to just rip that and put it into its data set. Recently, Bow and AI researcher Simon Willison grabbed data for more than 12 million images in Lion-5B and created a search tool. Oh, we're definitely going to look at that. That lets users peek into a small but representative slice of the much larger data set. You can also search this network image, this network image set for artwork, for your own name, and just wow. A few weeks ago, some artists began discovering their artwork in the Stable Diffusion dataset, and they weren't happy about it. Why the fuck would you be? This guy, Charlie Walzer, wrote a detailed report about this reactions for The Atlantic last week. Probably should go look at that. With battle lines being drawn very firmly in the sand and new AI creativity tools coming out steadily, this debate will likely continue for some time to come. Yeah, I do believe it will. Absolutely. Let's have a quick look at this search tool here, shall we? So here we go. Oh, wow. All right, so I actually did take a quick look at this morning while I was taking my first Duke of the day. It seems like a good time to engage in some absolute total fuckery. So I looked up Sid Mead. Absolutely. Reza Afshar, who is not the most well-known artist, but he has a very unique style. And he's absolutely one of my favorite concept artists and just artists in general. We looked him up. Found him right in here. Here we go. And it's funny because actually I would say that a lot of this isn't really necessarily typical of what he does. But again, this is just a small sample of the data set. We're not looking through the entire data set. I think an interesting thing to look at is where this art is coming from. You could see here in the domain ID, it kind of tells you where it's finding this stuff. So a lot of it is DeviantArt. We have ArtStation. And I saw that a lot. DeviantArt, definitely a big one, and ArtStation. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that if I'm ArtStation or I'm DeviantArt, this concerns me greatly, because the perception of your web or your online art community is going to go from a safe space for creating and sharing to you're essentially planting your artwork in the fields of AI data mining. Like, it's absolutely not safe there. Are we going to get to the place where it's like you can't even post your shit online because you don't want the AI to rip it off? But then again, the reason any of us post anything on social media or online is for promotion. We use that to get work. So now we're at this super fucked up kind of catch-22. So, okay, let's look at a few other people. Let's look at one of my favorites, Jamayuta Bayev. And yeah, here we go. I'm familiar with this piece. This is great. Yep, plenty. Let's see where most of this is coming from. Let's see. Domain, pinimg. I don't know what the fuck that is. Nexus Mag, Concept Art World. I mean, he's a pretty well-known concept artist. I feel like his work is going to be reproduced in a lot of places. Let's look at Greg Rutkowski. Yep, plenty here. So look, ArtStation, pinimg. I don't know what this pinimg is. This must be some sort of reference to some sort of hosting. ArtStation. Another third party probably posting about his artwork. ArtStation. So yeah, ArtStation, like, maybe you should be concerned. You might have to look into a way to block these generators, these data sets from getting onto your website. If I'm the owner of ArtStation, I'm taking steps today, right now, to stop this from happening. It's not okay. No one's going to want to use your fucking website anymore if they know that literally everything you put on there just goes right into the fucking Stable Diffusion data set. That shit ain't okay. Now I want to try someone a little different. Somebody whose work primarily consists of copyrighted intellectual property. I'm talking about none other than the absolute legend Alex Ross, who has illustrated some of your favorite comic books in general, but all of your favorite DC graphic novels, where every fucking page that this guy paints sings. It is spellbinding. So here we go. Alex Ross. And look, already we've got the data sets being trained on copyrighted material. Just take a moment to appreciate Alex Ross's work. It's just fucking stellar. So where is it getting a lot of this? Now, I don't feel like Alex Ross is using ArtStation, but it can really find from anywhere because Alex Ross's work is sold and discussed all over the internet for such a long time. I mean, the guy he's everywhere because just look at the quality and for what he works on. These are huge IPs. I mean, it seems like there's a pretty good amount of this stuff too. Yeah. So this is kind of what we're working here. So yes, this little delve into the data sets is kind of disheartening, but I would say just the title of this article, the fact that some small websites or smaller art communities are just completely fucking over it is good news. We are not alone. If you have a problem with this, call your local senator. Tell them you have a problem with ethics and AI training data sets. Now, granted, money talks, bullshit walks. They do somewhat still care about votes. Tell them you're not going to vote for them. Have your friends call them. And online, just don't follow AI artists. I mean, if you just don't give a fuck and you think it's cool, then good for you. But if you do give a fuck and you care about human creativity, then don't follow those people. Follow human artists. Make sure you like, comment on their posts, and let them know that you give a shit and you appreciate what they do. Also, if you have some time, you can hop in our Discord. We have just a few people in there now, but everybody really like-minded, and we're looking for solutions, and we're trying to just grapple a little bit with the existential dread that a lot of artists are feeling right now. And you can come in there and get a little bit of positivity. So, I'm very happy to have brought you some good news today, guys. Let's hope there's a lot more coming. But I'm sure I'll be covering plenty more doom and gloom very soon. But in the meantime, I wish you all good luck in the wars to come.